So I'm just about to go to the gym, but I thought I would share a video with you guys because I just finished my last therapy session of this year. And I feel really good about it because I kind of feel like I led this session a bit more, where I talked about how I've reflected upon this whole year. So I think I talked in like past videos last week about kind of processing lots of different waves of grief this year and loss and change. And fundamentally that happens throughout our lifetime. That's inevitable. But I think I've had a bit of a reflection on myself and my actions this year and kind of what's happened. So I think part of growing and healing is being able to have the ability to take ownership for your own behaviors and patterns. So therapy kind of helps you notice the patterns and label the patterns, and then it helps you explore why you have those patterns. So for example, if you're an avoidant, recognizing you're an avoidant, where that's come from. And then it's up to you to kind of acknowledge that behavior and do the change. So for me, I had this epiphany this week where I was like, what if nobody in this whole story is actually a villain? What happens if you're not a villain, your friends, your job, your partner, whatever? What happens if they're not a villain and you're not a victim? And you're not the villain and they're not the victim? What happens if you set the tone for interactions way too early? So for me, I've reflected that I have a chronic people-pleasing tendency. I'm highly empathic and sensitive, and so I pick up on people's energy and I just go straight into it. I want to fix it. And if someone's upset with me, I want to fix it. I want to overhelp and extend, and I get a lot of anxiety if I'm upsetting people. So I've noticed that this entire year, in every single element of my life, I just already come with a pitch. I'm already overgiving myself from the very beginning. Friends, family, dating, whatever it is, I'm already like, here I am, here's access to everything. Here's the fucking bag of jelly beans, have it. And then I've kind of found, reflecting upon this entire year, that the output has never been matched in any area of my life this year. I'm being told I can't give that level off the bat all the time and get that back. And I don't think it's because people are a villain. Job's a villain, life's a villain, whatever. I think what it is if somebody's giving you that off the bat, you're just going to keep taking it. And so I came up with this epiphany in the last 24 hours of like, basically you just need to give pips of yourself, like little tiny amounts, and see how that registers. So I had this chronic issue where like at work I was telling them absolutely nothing, and then in my home life I was massively oversharing. So I need to recalibrate how much energy I give. So you give a little bit and you see how that goes down. So for some people, just observe if they match it. Are they interested? Do they take that on board or not? And take it as a data point. And then you can decide whether you want to soften and give more, and you can build that trust on an even keel. I think my problem is I'm a chronic oversharer, and it's kind of led to me overinvesting and overextending, and then being a little bit confused when that's not reciprocated. But I think I have to take ownership that I start that dynamic, and it's my responsibility to change it. So now I'm very conscious going into next year and entering this whole new decade of my 30s that I'm not prepared to overextend anymore. My job is going to be to observe more, to kind of see how somebody's energy matches with mine, and then to build that trust, whether people can have access. And I don't need to over-explain myself. I don't need to analyze every situation. I don't need to justify why I do stuff. And so I've kind of learnt the art of like not giving everybody access to everything. If somebody's not asking you the right questions, don't give them the information. Just because I'm very attentive to other people, I ask a lot of questions, I give a lot, it doesn't mean that people can match that. And it also doesn't mean you have to share like your entire life. So I'm kind of learning the art now of, if somebody's not interested, that's fine. But equally, you also don't have to dig for meaning from people either. If somebody gives you just a basic answer, just take it and just accept it. And it's all kind of information to move forward. And I feel like I'm really starting to integrate and understand that lesson. I don't have to be so emotionally invested in other people's lives. I don't have to emotionally monitor other people's lives. And I've had a tendency to do that my whole life. So it's quite interesting. It's quite freeing in the sense that I can care about people without having to overinvest in their stories and without having to give all of me to be their emotional support person, basically. I don't have to do that. And it's basically taken me a good few decades to understand that. But this is what therapy's for. It's for kind of understanding that pattern and learning that actually this doesn't serve you. It just depletes all your energy. You give all your energy to other people. And if you do that, it's human nature. They'll take it. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. It means that you set the tone for how much energy you give. And I've been trying to integrate that lesson this entire year. And then all of a sudden with breathing space, it's all just clicked. And I've been able to objectively see where I have poured in and I've not received back, but without bitterness or emotions in it, just seeing it objectively and saying, okay, actually, yeah, that's a perfect example of you just gave off the bat way too much and it wasn't reciprocated. So next time, just don't do that. Just give a little bit less and just see how the dynamic's going to evolve without you having to manage. And that's my chronic problem. I try and manage all my relationships, work, colleagues, relationships, family, romantic. I take too much control over the dynamic and it leaves me very exhausted. So I'm trying to let go and trying to tell myself that's not you not caring. It's just you putting a little bit of a boundary and a little bit of breathing space on a dynamic and kind of letting them pick up the ball a little bit sometimes without you having to be so anxious that if you don't manage this ship, it's going to go off course. So I hope this helps because I actually think a lot of us do this. And kind of seeing that pattern firsthand and then playing around a little bit with taking some of your energy back and kind of seeing where that lands will really help you understand kind of the base level of your dynamic with anybody, whether it's a work colleague, a family member, or a romantic potential. Take a bit of a step back and kind of gauge before you give too much, because at the end of the day, trust is earned. Consistency is what really matters, people showing up consistently. And nothing has to be a rush, which I've also learned this year. You don't have to rush a foundation. Take a little bit of time and observe it. Because if it's somebody in a relationship that's going to be significant in your life, then patience and slowing things down and taking your time will not put that person off. Whether it's a work colleague, a romantic, a family member, a new friend. If the foundation is going to be strong and stable, doing it steady will not destroy the dynamic. If it's intense and you ask to slow it down and that puts pressure, that's because, again, it's an uneven distribution. And again, that's a data point for you to take. So I hope this is kind of an interesting, helpful guide to kind of becoming an adult and realizing that you don't need to people please people all the time.